Gemar Chatima Tova. We are delighted to continue our Yom Kippur observance with all of you. I'm Rabbi Sarah Haransky. We have Rabbi Kira Stein, Cantor Sarah, Fortman Zerbi Berda. Take a breath, be in the space, settle yourself in. We'll continue in our services on page 138.
On page 156, we have this prayer. Asher Yatzar talks about, I thanking God for making sure our bodies are working correctly this morning, and especially on a day like this one, when we may be fasting from food or from other things, or we are certainly out of our norm for a Wednesday morning. We are grateful that we can be here and that we can take a deep breath and that we can sit in these chairs and be present in this moment. We say together the words on page 156. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokmah, uvara vo nekavim nekavim, chalulim chalulim. Galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chevodecha, she'im yipateach echad mehem, o yisatem echad mehem, I efshar lihitkayem v'la'amod lifanecha. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar umafli la'asot.
And on page 158, we reaffirm that the soul God gives to us, gave to us every time we breathe, it is actually pure. We say this every morning that we wake. It's like we're recognizing, there are wonders before me. I am in a good space. And how perfect on Yom Kippur when we're casting away those things that we don't want, those things that we're like, this tarnishes my soul. This does not make me a good person. How beautiful it is to join in reading together about the soul that has been given to us. It is pure, it has been shaped and formed and breathed into us to do with what we wish, what we hope, and be the people we would like to be. Together, pure, my God, is the soul you have given me. You formed it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me. You keep it safe within me. Someday, when this soul returns to you, I will find a place in eternity. But as long as spirit breathes within me, I place before you my thanks. Eternal my God and God of my ancestors, creator of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Baruch atah Adonai, asher beyadod, nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol basar ish. We give you praise, Adonai. All life is in your hand, and in your care, the soul of every human being.
Well, we prepare ourselves to be a sanctuary. We're sitting here in this sanctuary, and we also recognize that the whole world is our sanctuary, and that there are miracles and awe and wow every moment of every day of our lives, and so we recognize those daily miracles on page 160 with our Nisim B'chol Yom. We will start in the Hebrew, and then finish each one in English. So the Hebrew will be the same for each blessing, and then the English will follow. Page 160, join us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power gave the mind discernment to distinguish light from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power opens eyes that cannot see. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power brings freedom to the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power spreads the land upon the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power has made all I need. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power gives firmness to our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power removes sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power endowed me with human freedom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power has made me Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power gives strength to Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Your great power crowns Israel with glory. So what do we do once we've acknowledged all of these beautiful daily miracles? We thank them. We thank God for them. We thank the creator of this universe for them. We continue with our Psalm 150, our psalm of praise, our psalm of thanks on page 170.
We continue on page 174. By the mouths of the upright you are raised up, and in the words of the righteous you are blessed. On the tongues of the pious you are sanctified. In the midst of the holy you are praised. Your people by the thousands sing to glorify your name. In all generations we give voice to your sovereignty. Together, our sovereign God, source of holiness and greatness, may your name be praised forever in this world and beyond. Eternal One, God of our mothers and our fathers, your strength, sanctity, glory, and dominion are deserving of song, praise, poetry, hymn, sacred chant, and blessings of thankfulness for all time and eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of praise, source of the impulse to give thanks, crown of wonders, who desires a world filled with song and a universe of life.
Yitkadal,
Yitkadal,
Yitkadash,
Yitkadash,
Shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
Be'alma,
Alma,
Divera, Chiyute,
together on page 180 in the English. In love, you bring light to the earth and its creatures. Your goodness renews the creation each day. Infinite, varied, and rich are your works, divine artist, all of them wrought with wisdom. The whole earth is teeming with life, awe-struck and mirrors, work of your hands. Let all life bless you, praise you, and celebrate the beauty of your lives. May you shine a new light on Zion, and may we soon be privileged to share in that light. Our praise to you, Adonai, creator of the cosmic lights. You love us by helping us grow. You give us Torah, a ladder of the soul, words that draw us upward, every mitzvah and invitation to climb. Forge and kiln and crucible to purify our hearts. You give us Torah. You love us by helping us grow.
Friends, as we move along in our service, we are actually going to be reading a footnote. Here's the most amazing thing about this Machzor. The footnotes are incredible. The alternative readings, which are on the left side of the page, are incredible. People say this all the time, like, oh, the liturgy doesn't really speak to me. It's all this. Yeah, I know. It's pretty top-down and pretty heavy during the High Holy Days. But your minds and your hearts get to explore, get to think, get to meditate. It could be one song that lights your soul today. It could be one footnote that stays with you for the weeks to come. I, Rabbi Kira, Cantor Sarah, we ask of you, let your hearts and minds move. Move through the prayer book. Look at the footnotes. Move to the reflection walls. This is your time. We've chosen some readings. They are not fit for you today. This is your time to make the most of it. You chose to be here. Wherever your heart is inclined and moving and mind, so that you are in this day of Yom Kippur, go with it. Go with it. It's worth it. Reflect. Look inward. Read with us when you can. And check out the footnotes. We're going to be looking at the footnote on page 195. You took us. Return to the darkness. Inspired by these words of Rabbi Jill Jacobs, as long as the people allow the divine presence to dwell among them, they will remain free from Mitzrayim, from Egypt. But the moment the people stop actively trying to make the divine presence manifest, they will metaphorically return to the constricted space of Mitzrayim. By giving tzedakah, by working for policies that will create opportunities for everyone, and by helping to create a more just society, we too can make the divine presence manifest among us, even or especially in difficult times, and will lift ourselves collectively out of the narrowness of Mitzrayim. Micha Mocha is on 196.
שירה חדשה, שיבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפתיים. יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ויאמרו.
In the depths of the night, by the edge of the river, Jacob was left alone. In heartfelt longing in the temple of God, Hannah uttered her prayer alone. In the barren wilderness, in the doubt and despair, Elijah found God alone. On the holiest day, in the Holy of Holies, the high priest entered alone. We are bound to one another in myriad ways, but each soul needs time to itself. In solitude, we meet the solitary one. Silence makes space for the still, small voice. For the psalmist says, deep calls unto deep. From the depths of our soul, we seek what is most profound. We rise for the Amidah, page 198.
Ooh. מביא גאולה לפני פניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר, מושיע מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני. מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמנתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני. מחיי הכל.
Please be seated. Page 209. Unatana Tokef. Today we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread, Norah V'ayom. Unwelcome visitor, for we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear, for all things are judged and all things will pass, and life ends in a heartbeat, and death knows our name. At the start of the year and the season of truth comes the day of remembrance. For all we forget and all we deny, and we fall on our knees in the depths of our hearts, for we know that the bell tolls for us. The words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance, for your story will end, and it might be this year in a way you don't know. Take hold of your life, make things right while you can, and don't miss the call of the day of dread. 208.
Malchut
Uv'shofar gadol yitaka v'kol d'mama daka yishama. And so a great shofar will cry, Tekiah. A still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged in your eyes, even if they are not blameless. All who come into the world pass before you like sheep before their shepherd, as a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff. You count and consider every life. You set bounds. You decide destiny. You inscribe judgments.
Berosh, Berosh, Berosh Hashanah, Berosh Hashanah, Ikatevu. Uviom, Uviom, Uviom Som Kippur, Uviom Som Kippur, Yechatemu. Berosh Hashanah, Ikatevu, 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 Uviom Som Kippur, Uteshuva, utefila, utzedakah, ma'avirin et ra, hagezerah.
On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. Together, how many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by peace? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who will be tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted? But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. Please rise. Page 218.
נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות Le dor va dor, le dor va dor, le dor va dor, nagid korecha, ule netzach netzachim, ule netzach netzachim, kedushatcha nagdish. Let or vador, let or vador, let or vador, nagid kolecha, ule netzach netzachim, ule netzach netzachim, kedushatcha nagdish, v'shivchacha
Page 222. And so, in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for the connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name.
And so, in your holiness, give your people the gift of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith, true happiness for the land of Israel, true joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David, your servant, soon grow bright enough for us to see, a beam of light in the darkness, a promise of perfection.
And so in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisp of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth. Together, you and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation, upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, the eternal shall reign for all time. Your God of all generations, Zion, hallelujah. You are holy, your name is awe. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through your justice. The God of holiness, made holy through righteousness. Blessed are you, Adonai, holy sovereign.
Page 235. It is not easy to forgive God. It takes huge effort. It is painful, contradictory, and maddening. The human suffering that surrounds us feels utterly unforgivable. But I will forgive God because I do not want to write off the relationship. Because I feel there is too much love to be lost by simply walking away. Because I want my children to develop their own relationships and come to their own conclusions. Because, despite the pain, sorrow, and suffering, I want my universe of miracles, not void of them. because I do not want to be one more angry old cynic in the world. I want to believe a voice still calls out from Sinai, from heaven. That is why I will forgive God. I want to engage in the eternal conversations with the ancestors and sages. Despite it all, I want to live my life in praise and awe, in wonder and hope, even if I am wrong, even if at the end there is nothing but darkness. We read together, a teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. Your fellow human being is a mirror for you. If there is love and compassion in your soul, you will see the goodness in others. If you see a blemish in another, it is your own imperfection you encounter. Take careful note of the flaws you perceive in others. This is a lesson for you. They are your own flaws set before you, a reminder of your own spiritual work. It is forbidden for a person to be cruel and refuse to be appeased. Rather, one should be easily pacified in difficult to anger. When someone who has wronged you asks for forgiveness, even if the person aggravated and sinned against you greatly, let the offender come 3 times and ask sincerely for forgiveness. If the offended person continues to be stubborn and refuses to forgive, one is not required to beg forgiveness any longer. The one who refuses to forgive is now the sinner.
At this time, I'd like to call up, I'd like to call up our Sim Shalom singers, Sydney DeVore, Ava Makrowski, and Sasha Turbo.
Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Hein v'hesed, hein v'hesed berahamim. Hein v'hesed, hein v'hesed berahamim, berahamim. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom, Tova, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom, Tova, Tova
We take a few moments for our own silent personal prayers.
Hello? I think it's God. I think God's calling us. It's perfect. Kira and I were just speaking about a little bit ago about the innovations in this world and how they're so good. They innovate our ability to communicate and to pray, and the innovations needed for Judaism. And I remember when we put these screens on, so many people were so mad. So mad, and I look at you looking at the screens. And these telephones, they're sources of goodness, and they're sources of connection, especially in difficult times. So I do appreciate them. We also appreciate we turn them to mute. We are going to offer yet another blessing of peace and hopes that our prayers are transcending and are talking directly to God. A little meditation by Portnoy. Amen. After a confrontation on the road, a driver in a white sedan pulls up alongside a red Lexus right here on that on-ramp at Laurel Canyon, northbound 101. The driver of the white sedan pulls out a gun and shoots the driver in the red Lexus. Another incident in a Tahunga neighborhood, one very angry driver pulls up in front of another, stomps out of his car, threatens him, and then sprays the other man with bear spray. Or the heart-wrenching incident in Orange County where a man murders a 6-year-old child, Aiden, who's on his way to kindergarten with his mother. Why? Because a man perceived that he and his partner were cut off on the freeway. Road rage is everywhere. You see it every day, so do I. AAA estimates that 8 out of 10 drivers are now demonstrating aggressive behaviors. Behaviors such as screaming profanity or perhaps a rude gesture. Or the more aggressive, bumping, sideswiping, harsh braking, or the extremely aggressive, running another off the road with our car or pulling out a gun and shooting at the other car. 2021 saw the deadliest year for road rage with guns. An average of 44 people per month were wounded or killed. 44 people in road rage incidents had a gun wound or kill them per month. And in the first 6 months of 2022, LAPD records nearly 500 incidents of road rage. That is a 33% increase from the same period of 2021. Folks, what is happening? What is happening? One interview driver said, "It's like Americans are addicted to anger." Road rage is just a symptom of a much, much larger problem. It is not only raging on the roads, we are raging everywhere. People are flat out mean, uncontrollably lashing out over minor things. I am disheartened by the rudeness, the impatience, the yelling, the assumption of the worst in others, the brutal emails, the cruel comments on social media, extreme violence. It's all about me. It's all about my family, my needs, my wants. Get out of my way or I'll take you out of my way. People did not emerge from COVID gentler and kinder, more loving or caring. We witness an abundance of poor behavior here at TBH, in America, and around the world. You may say post-COVID, you may say COVID endemic. I do not care what we label it. We have emerged different, and in many ways, not for good. We know that someone will come out of a catastrophe completely changed. We cannot remain unchanged. Our brains and our wiring have been altered. The turning in and isolating stripped us from the everyday conversations, the common courtesies, the ones where you said, go ahead of me, you only have a few items, the niceties at the gas pump, how are you today? Have a great day. We also lost the deep conversations, the ones around a dinner table or over a cup of coffee. Our brains literally require socialization. Neuroscience studies have shown time and again that the brain structure literally rewires itself when isolated. So the lack of face-to-face easiness, the lack of deep conversations, this has impacted us in a very, very big way. In his book, Lost Connection, Johann Hari states, loneliness is a quiet devastation. Loneliness isn't the physical absence of other people, he said. It's the sense that you're not sharing anything that matters with anyone else. To end loneliness, he offers, you need to have a sense of mutual aid and protection. Mutual aid and protection. It's not just about me. So we are socializing more. We are physically less lonely. I'm not sure that we're spiritually less lonely. We've moved on, but have we moved into a place of mutual aid and protection of others? I don't know, and I don't think so, not yet. So the loneliness sitting somewhere in our core, sitting somewhere in the rewiring of our brain. But folks, we are a Jewish people. We are Am Yisrael, a peoplehood. It is not Adam, one, it is Am, people. And when we pass through catastrophe or crisis, we have done so as a peoplehood. Rabbi Kira spoke about this last night, about all of our disruptions and how we made it through. We made it through by innovating, but we also made it through by staying together and aiding one another. With the destruction of the first temple, forced into diaspora, lonely and scared, what did we do? We created new ways to gather, creating smaller communities, creating and innovating the first synagogues. We stayed together. After the Shoah, what did we do? We solidified the founding of the nation-state of Israel and together built her up. In fact, our Talmud teaches us that a Talmid Chacham, a wise scholar, any person, may not live in a city, that doesn't have 10 basic elements: a court of law, a tzedakah fund to care for others, a synagogue, a teacher, a doctor, a mikvah, a butcher, and a bathroom. There is nothing in these elements of where we may reside that says, have a house, build a hearth, block off your barn, block off your boundaries. It talks about establishing well-being of a community, and that is a place we can reside in. We are literally commanded to provide for the physical well-being and spiritual needs of everyone. The court system protects others. The tzedakah fund provides for the impoverished. The synagogue, well, look around you. You're here today, nurturing your social self, but also nurturing your spiritual connection and your connection with God and one another. The doctor, the teacher, the butcher, this is all about ensuring the future, the well-being of ourselves and our whole community, our continuity. Our tradition teaches the entire Jewish people is considered a guarantor, one for the other. We are considered guarantors, one for the other. We are literally obligated. It is a command to not make it only about me. As we emerge from the elongated period of isolation, self-preservation, focus on our families first, I think we lost the sense of the collective. There is and must be a balance for preservation and communal well-being. As Rabbi Soloveitchik taught, Judaism has always viewed a person from the dual perspective. Judaism sees that every person is an independent individual and also a part of the community, a limb of the body. What a beautiful image. We're each part of this big human being. Together we create. It's not one arm punching the other arm, one arm pushing you off a road. It is literally scooting over a lane and letting someone on. It is moving out of the fast lane, if you're not in a hurry, to let someone else pass by. It is literally checking yourself before you react. So why after lockdown, when we literally had the freedom to be together, are we so wrapped up in selfishness and self-centeredness, often demonstrated through aggressive behaviors? Kind of been stumped by the irony in that. We get to be together, and yet we're so mean and rude to each other. It's all we wanted during COVID was to be together. I cannot quite understand why we push back so hard against another person. It's like we want to remain isolated in our bubble. Talking to Yuri about this, he's like, don't you think people are still just afraid? Yes, I do. People are afraid of drowning again. We are stuck in this place. We're holding so tight, we're like unwilling to let go. My head is staying above water and I will not let go no matter what you do. And in that, we start to lash out. I want to unravel a little bit of this, why this keeps happening, why we're stuck, why loneliness has rewired us. And to this, I turn to the teachings of Dr. Betsy Stone, a retired psychologist and adjunct lecturer at HUC, Jewish Institute of Religion, HUC-JR. She spent time with our teachers this year, and she has spent time all over the country lecturing and writing extensively on this topic. She points out two very important things. One, trauma, and two, the wiring of our brains. So trauma. Trauma is the response to deeply distressing or disturbing events that overwhelm our ability to cope. It may cause feelings of helplessness, diminishes our sense of self, and even one's ability to feel a full range of emotions and experiences. Again, it's a big definition. Trauma is response to deeply distressing or disturbing events, yep, we had those, that overwhelm our ability to cope, may cause feelings of helplessness, diminishes our sense of self, and even one's ability to feel a full range of emotions and experiences. Trauma, folks, is a reaction to something real, and sadly, COVID was real. It was an event, and not just one event. It still remains a roller coaster. We go up, we go down, loss and disruption over and over again. And then we pile on top of that a little bit more. Dr. Stone calls that a cascade of events. 1 million people died in our country. 1 million people. Add on top of that racial injustice, political injustice, an insurrection, mass shooting after mass shooting, anti-Semitism across our cities and in our universities, and health injustices. Pour it on top. Pour it on top. That element is like, oh, the water keeps pouring. I'm going down and down and down. You're doing everything you can to kick up and push up to grab that breath of air, and just as you open your mouth to breathe, another bucket of water is dumped upon you. For some of us recently, that has the hijacking and the holding hostage in Texas at a synagogue. For others, it was a shooting in Chicago. I don't know what your one more bucket was, but you've had it. You've had it where you just can't catch your breath. And you know what happens when a person is actively drowning? 2 things. Either they silently drift away. These are the people in our community who are in such grave pain, but they have no voice. They're lost and they're hurting. And the other, as any good lifeguard knows, when you go to rescue someone who is drowning, they could also be the exact opposite. They will be splashing and lashing out, and they will be doing everything they can to save themselves, and they will literally grab onto the one, the helper, the saver, and pull them under with them. I believe we're afraid to sink again, and so in order to protect ourselves, we either turn in and get so quiet and so hurt inside, or we lash out. Part of the reason we are just so angry. I want to return to the trauma definition for one other element of it, which is the discussion about the range of emotions. This means that it's not that we don't have a range, but we tend to be stuck in the extremes. We're like way over here with joy, or way over here with anger. We're way over here with pleasure, or way over here with sadness. We're missing that normal part of the range. That's the part that's been challenged because of the trauma. The normal, the moderate space. And you might say, but Rabbi, we are totally back to normal. I feel fine. I go to concerts, my kids go to school, I travel, no more mass. Hey, I'm even at temple. Yeah, things are normal, right? I'm normal. To say this makes us feel good. I'm normal, things are normal. Yeah, we're not expressing that in the range of emotions. Crisis and catastrophe changed us. They change what our normal will be. Dr. Stone's second point will provide a little clarity about why that normal range really matters. Here she talks about the literal brain. It's a complex, intricate web, our brain. It's important to understand its complexity, but yet just know that over time it hasn't changed so much. We still have that animalistic, primitive part of our brain. Now, she oversimplifies it, and I'm going to do my best. Are there any neurologists, neuroscientists, people in the room? Fantastic. All right. Go speak to someone if you want a real explanation. All right, so the back of our brains, this part back here, right? That's the thing, so primitive, right? It says, oh, you're breathing, and oh, you have a heart rate, and I'm going to keep that happening. This part, the frontal part, is our intentional part of our brain. It's the thinking behaviors. And this part, the amygdala, its job is to keep us alive. It detects a threat and it reacts. In the face of danger, it chooses fight, flight, freeze. Don't think, it just reacts, right? So if you trip and you fall down, the amygdala says, put your hands out. Protect your face, protect your noggin. Your amygdala reacts. Your frontal lobe comes in play, maybe about a half an hour or so later, and says, ooh, you're actually okay. You're all right. You can stand up. There's no reason for your heart to beat that fast. Hey, you're still feeling worried? Go to the doctor. You're okay. Okay, so you broke a wrist. Not a big deal. You're okay. That frontal cortex, our thinking part, says to the amygdala, thanks for the reaction. I'm good. I'm normal. Folks, we've been on an edge for a really long time. It's like we're falling down and falling down and falling down, and our frontal cortex is having a hard time recentering our amygdala. That metaphor of drowning fits right up here, right? We can't breathe, we're coming up for air. The amygdala is hijacking this thing, your frontal cortex. Dr. Stone calls that amygdala the lizard brain. The lizard brain is winning out over our thinking brains. So if loneliness itself didn't rewire our brains, bring on your hyperactive amygdala. When it's in hyperdrive, you know what happens? We get forgetful, we get fuzzy. Anybody during COVID be like, I put my keys in the freezer. No idea why. I left my car running. Whoops. It wasn't me, Yuri. Another big area when your amygdala is in overdrive is disturbed sleep. Our sleeps are restless. We sometimes wake up with muscle aches, and it doesn't make sense because we were so clenched at night. And from personal experience, let me just tell you, who's got 2 cracked teeth? This girl. Just came from the dentist, and look at what I learned. So does most of America right now. So much clenching of our teeth at night that we are seeing huge amounts of grinding, chipping, cracking teeth, and jaw pain. Many of you will probably be joining me in the night guard game very soon. I know I digressed a little bit, but it's important. The bottom line is that this amygdala, when it's in overdrive, state of hyperarousal, that state brings us only to the primitive lizard brain. We're not resting. In pre-industrial days, it was the best thing. We had famine, and our brain said, oh, you better eat, you better consume, you better store up, because you don't know what's going to be next, right? I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand if you gained weight the last 2 years. Don't do it. Many of us did. I want to ask you if you were storing up and you just purchased so many things, and now you're like, oh, it keeps coming to my house. I can't stop buying it. You don't need it. Your amygdala is telling you, I must consume, I must have it. That's your lizard brain driving you to consume. We can't let the lizard brain win any longer. We have to elevate the frontal lobe, that frontal thinking part. Trust me, I'm the mother of a 6-month-old lizard. He's seriously basic. Very cute, but basic. Friends, we aren't basic, and I think we can do better. We can and must do better. Pause, breathe, think before react. We are not in this world for ourselves alone. Take a good action for another person, and that might just be the key to success, to soothe the amygdala. We're taught a very foundational teaching by the rabbis that the world will stand on 3 things: our study and our prayers and our acts of loving kindness. Folks, pray. Yes. Learn. Yes. Perform acts of loving kindness, because I think that's going to be the key to getting into that normal range of emotions, the spot where the frontal lobe wins out over your lizard brain. Think about doing it in small little doses, a spoonful at a time, of loving kindness every day into the world and into our community. When we extend acts of love, we fill our own cups. Hari said that loneliness ends when we are in a place of mutual aid and protection. We should do acts of goodness because they will lead to the next and the next and the next, and they will provide spaces for mutual aid and protection. Our bodies and our minds, our physical and spiritual attention will be brought alive into this world through our acts of tzedakah and every mitzvah that we perform. Feel the joy, feel the happy, and feel the moderate range of emotions through righteous actions. And in turn, I think we'll start regulating our anger and our frustration, and we'll let that person merge onto the highway. They have a right to do so. Conscious, thoughtful, giving actions will soothe our aching hearts and repair our souls. Above the ark at the very top, it says, part of Hillel's quote, Imena lili mili, uksha'ani la'atzmi ma'ani, v'im lo akshav imatai. If I am not for me, who will be for me? That's how we got through COVID. That's how we get through trauma. That's how we get when we're primitive. A little bit of it is good. If I am not for me, who will be for me? Part 1. Part 2, and if I'm only for myself, what am I? What am I? Hillel questions. And part 3, if not now, then when? The when's now. It's time. It's time. We have changed, but we get to determine the human beings we want to be. I am stronger in community. I am better in community. I can get myself centered, and I will be stronger when, yes, I care for myself, but when I care for others too. We don't need to be islands. We don't need to be lonely souls drowning in an ocean. We are a place of community, an a peoplehood, one responsible for the other. So friends, I think what we need to ask ourselves, what am I going to do to soothe and focus on who I want to be in 5783? Will I only be for myself? Will I be for others? Will I fix the wiring in my brain? Will I find a moderate space of emotion? Will I be a leader? Will I show others that one act of kindness will lead to another, and the world is a much better place when we are in it together? As Hillel would say, who am I if I'm only for myself? And if not now, when? Oof. Friends, the when is always a TBH. The when is always. You're joining us now in prayer, and we thank you. You're joining us in community, and we thank you. You have the rest of the day to continue joining us in community with a text study led by Rabbi Jim, our 12th step Yom Kippur service, our Yizkor and afternoon and Ne'ilah services. We're here all day. You're welcome to spend it with us. In addition, Sukkah Palooza is on Sunday. It's really exciting. It's super fun. Live music, time to be on the yard, time to be in a sukkah, wave your lulav and shake your etrog. There'll be food. Don't talk about it. Yeah, really good stuff. What did she say? I said there's going to be food. Okay, that being said, join us on the 9th from 5 to 7. We are blessed to be a thriving community headed into our next 75 years, and we wouldn't do it without the leadership of so many of you stepping up and serving one another. Small token of our appreciation is that we ask our leaders in the community to join us on the Bima, and so you'll see folks throughout this time. We have joining us at this time Michael Schensel alongside of Meredith. Mike's been the president of the Beth Hillel Elementary School for a few years now, and a member of our board of trustees, and we're so glad that you're here. Sitting next to them is the president of our congregation, Jamie Stevens, and she took it on. It's not an easy task, but we're so grateful. And right next to her is David Heimovitz. David is a treasurer of our congregation, and supposedly, I was going to say, and look over there, there's Joe Heimovitz, a member of our choir and president of the Women of Temple Beth Hillel, but Joe's homesick. Refuah Shlema. Also, though, joining us on the Bima, we have Margie Meadow, media past president of our congregation, and Mark Singer, who's somewhere over there who I can't see, but he's there. Here's Mark. Mark is a member of our board of trustees, financial secretary, and teacher in our schools for 51 years. It's an amazing amount of service. So we are just so blessed to have their leadership alongside of our choir and our clergy, and we couldn't do it without each other. So please continue to join us. Please continue to lean in and be a part of this community. Focus this year is cultivating curiosity. So learn with us, participate in adult education, go to Israel with me, why not? And Scholar in Residence Weekend's coming your way, and a lot of guest speakers. So lean into caring for one another, and join us in our social action endeavors and our prayer endeavors and our learning endeavors. We will continue in our service. I know you're waiting for that. On page 252. That's 252. Oh, look at that. I think it's 252. Oh, there it is. Please rise.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Hallelujah, Beherem Bera'ah, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Alech Hazar, Uvashti.
On page 266 in your Maxarim, we read, "You stand this day, all of you, in the presence of Adonai, your God, your tribal heads, your elders, your officials, every man, woman, and child of Israel, and the stranger in the midst of your camp, from the one who cuts your wood to the one who draws your water." Does it seem unusual to anyone? Don't we always hear B'nai Israel, all the people of Israel? That's it. Or Anashim, the men of Israel. Look at that text again. Who's there? Who? Children? Who else? Women, yes. Who else? The stranger. Then we also have sort of like, you've got the tribal heads. These are the officials, the important people. And then you got a wood chopper and a water gatherer. Those are called day laborers, right? Menial laborers. So you've got everybody. And where are they? They are being entered into a covenantal relationship, a binding relationship with God. It is not just meant for that person or that person. It is literally for every single person. God is establishing law and expectation that everybody is responsible to uphold these laws, and the consequences, they follow after in this text. And you are also liable to those consequences, whether you are an official or a day laborer. While it's true that this kind of governance structure is sort of top-down, God-down, and not that democratic, it is similar in one way to law in America. The rules and consequences should apply equally to every person, the resident and the non-resident, the stranger who resides among us, to those who have and those that have not, to the officials as well as our day laborers. In our Torah portion of Nitzavim, we are all part of a covenant, all present in that moment. And sadly, in America, in a democracy, that part is incomplete. Not everyone is represented at our polls. Unlike our parashah, our founding forefathers established a democracy that we choose to maintain and uphold, and therefore we have the right and the obligation to participate in establishing the laws of our land that bind and hold us responsible one to the other, that shape our nation. As Reformed Jews, we believe democracy is strongest when the electorate reflects the population, and it suffers when citizens are shut out from the democratic process. Voting is how we determine our future. It is how we fulfill the Talmudic teaching that a ruler is not to be appointed unless the community is first consulted. It is our prayer. It is our voice. Therefore, the Reform movement is committed in 2022 to our Every Voice, Every Vote campaign, which is a nonpartisan effort grounded in our Jewish values, a commitment to racial justice, to strengthen our democracy, to encouraging and protecting voter participation. If you go to RAC.org, it's not hard, RAC, Reform Action Center, RAC.org, you can be a part of ensuring that every eligible voter's voice will be heard. So let us use this parashah today to remind us how important it is that no matter our status, our gender, our race, our background, each voice matters. And let us use this parashah to inspire us to protect democracy, making certain that no one is turned away from their polling place or blocked from exercising their right to vote. Kei Nehi Ratzon, be this God's will. Friends, I'd like to invite to the beam at this time, Frank Balkin. Now, he stands here representing himself. He's a pretty fantastic human being, co-president of our Men of TBH, but he's also representing Michael Heiss, the other co-president who is under the weather, and also representing Joe Heimovitz, because Michael and Frank lead the Men of TBH and Joe leads the Women of TBH. He will be sharing our Torah blessings with us, and we'll invite to join on the bima alongside of him our Torah readers today. That is Zev Cohen, Esther Renard, Solomon Press, and Jonah Benedon. So if you guys could please come up.
Yamdu Zev Avigdor Ben Daniel Bit Solel Shalomo Yosha Ve'ev Eva Esther Bat Chaya Ve'Yaakov Mordechai Ben Yankov Vegenya Shlomo Ben Zev Elizabeth Eliezer Ben Simcha Haskia Ve'Gibora Likro Et HaTorah.
When you are ready, Frank.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarak. Baruch Adonai Hambarak Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bakar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. You can follow along with our Torah reading, Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 9, on page 266. We're playing the roll, roll, roll the scroll. Roll, roll, roll the scroll. Hamisha Sifarim. Rishit Shemot Vayikra. Aviva Devarim. You can learn too. So is it after the curses? Blessing and curses, right? That's okay. We were there.
One panel away.
All right.
Come on now.
Amen. Atem mitzavim hayom kolhem lifnei Adonai Elohechem Rashehem Shivtehem Ziknehem Veshotrehem Kol Ish Yisrael Tapehem Neshehem Vegereha Asher Bekerev Mahaneha Me'otev Etzeha Ad Shoev Memeha Le'ovraha Birit Adonai Elohecha Uvalato Asher Adonai Elohecha Korei Timcha Hayom.
Fantastic.
למען הקים אותך היום לא לעם, והוא יהיה לך לאלוהים כאשר דיבר לך וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, ולא איתכם לבדכם אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת ואת העלה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום.
Amen. Ki hamitzvah hazot asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom, lo nifleit hi mimcha, velo rechoka hi. Lo vashamayim hi lemor, mi yalelanu hashamayma, vayikachecha lanu, vayashmienu ota, v'naasena. Velo me'ever layam hi lemor, mi ya'avor la'anu el ever hayam, v'yikachecha lanu, v'yashmienu ota v'naasena, ki karov elecha, hadavar ma'od beficha, o bilvavecha la'asoto.
Nice job, Mark. God.
Amen. Ra'e natati lefanecha hayom et hachayim ve'et hatov ve'et hamavet ve'et hara asher anochi metzavecha hayom le'avacha et Adonai Elohecha lelechet birochav ve'lishmor mitzvotav v'chokotav u'mishpatav v'chita v'charita uvarecha Adonai Elohecha ba'aretz asher ata v'shama lerishta v'im ifne leva'acha ve'lo tishma v'nidakta v'hashtachavita le'elohim acherim va'avad tam.
Amen. Higati lehem hayom ki avo taledun lo taharehud yamim al ha'adama asher ata over et hayarden lo boshima lirishta ha'idoti bahem hayom et hashemayim ve'et ha'aretz ha'hayim v'amavet natati lefaneha Abraham v'kilala uvaharta v'hahayim leman tir ata v'zareha la'ahava et Adonai Elohecha lishmoa v'kolo uto kavod ki hu hayeha v'oreh yameha leshevet al ha'adama asher nishba Adonai la'avotenu la'Abraham le'Yitzchak u'Yaakov la'tet lahem.
We say Yasher Koach. They did an amazing job. Frank.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torat emet b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We continue in a service with a prayer for healing. Folks, this is that time. Think of those people that you know are in need of healing. Respite for mind, body, and soul. Their physical well-being. Pull them in your hearts and into the center of your minds as we offer this blessing for healing.
Mekor Abraham
we bring up to the bema at this time Yuri Horonsky to share these words that we read as our Hagba. If you're able, we'll ask that you please rise, page 274.
Today, for the reading of the Haftarah, we will call up Caitlin Wilhelm. Now, Haftarah starts on page 275. And in this Haftarah portion, we read about fasting. How appropriate for the day. It's like the rabbis knew what they were doing. Fasting on Yom Kippur is often the standard by which many people hold their Judaism. People will often say, if you fast on Yom Kippur, you're pious. And if you're not, well, you're cheating. Or you're not fully appreciating the holiday. But the Haftarah that we read today gives us a different perspective on fasting. The people in the Haftarah say to God, we fasted, didn't you see it? Look how devoted we are to you. You even stopped eating for a whole day just for you, God. And God responds, even on your fast day, do you think only of your desire while you're oppressing all who work for you? Is this the fast I desire, God says? A day to afflict body and soul, do you call that a fast? Is not the fast I desire to break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and take your homeless into your home? God tells us that just to abstain from eating for the sake of fasting is not enough. One might even say that while you fast, if all you can think about is break fast, maybe the fast isn't the right thing to do. God tells us that the fast God desires is to break the bonds of injustice. So on this Yom Kippur, we can turn our fasting into advocating. And then we can fast every day of the year to fulfill the holy task of justice.
Yamdu, Yael Miriam Bat Avraham Visara Likro et Haftarah. Please join us. The blessing before Haftarah is on page 275, and the Haftarah verses 1 through 7 will be on 277 to 278.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar bin ve'im tovim ve'ratza v'divrehem ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv Moshe avdo uv Yisrael amo uvin v'yeh ha'emet v'tzedek. Kera bigaron al tachsoch kashofar harem kolecha v'haged le'ami pisham ulveit Yaakov chatotam ve'oti yom yom yidroshun ve'da'at דרכי יחפצון, כגוי אשר צדקה עשה, ומשפט אלוהיו לא עזב. ישאלוני משפטי צדק, קרבת אלוהים יחפצון. למה צמנו ולא ראית, עינינו נפשנו ולא תדע, הן ביום צומכם תמצאו חפץ, בכל עצביכם תנגוסו, הן לריב ומצה תצומו, ולהכות באגרוף רשע לא תצומו כיום, לחשמיה במרום כולכם. החזה יהיה צום אבחרהו, יום ענות אדם נפשו, הלכוף כאגמון ראשו, ושק ואפר יציע, הלזה תקרת צום ויום רצון לאדוני. הלא זה צום אבחרהו, פתח חרצובות רשע, התר אגודות מותה, ושלח רצוצים חופשיים, וכל מותה תנתקו. הלא פרוס לרעב לחמך, ועניים מרודים תביא בית, כי תראה ארון וכיסיתו, ומבשרך לא תתעלם.
Yasher Koach. The blessing after is on page 280.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadarot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber kayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu limchila ve'lislicha ulchapara lechavod ultifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarach shimcha befi kol chai tamlid liolam va'ed udvarcha emet v'kayam la'ad. Baruch ata Adonai melech mochel v'soleach la'avonotinu v'la'avonot Amo Beit Yisrael, Uma'avir Ashmotenu, Bechol Shana Veshana, Melech Al Kol Haaretz, Mekadesh Yisrael, V'yom HaKippurim.
Amen. Yasher Koach.
We'll continue with returning our Torah to the Ark, page 290.
Please rise.
Porto Eretz Meshamayim Vayared Keren Le'amon Tehila V'chol Chasidav Livnei Yisrael Am Kerovo
We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. Shema Kolenu, Adonai, hear our call.
True sacrifice to God is a penitent spirit. You treasure a crushed and repentant heart.
For you are close to the brokenhearted, and you give strength to a suffering soul.
You are the healer of shattered hearts. You are the one who binds up their wounds.
For thus says the high and exalted one who lives forever, whose name is holy.
I dwell in a high and holy place, but also with the downcast and lowly.
To bring new life to despondent souls, to restore and revive repentant hearts.
Return now, Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin.
Take words with you and return to God. Ask the Eternal, forgive what is wrong, accept what is good.
We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. We set before you the wrongs we have done.
We trust in your compassion, for you know who we are. Shema Kolenu Adonai, hear our call.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, aleinu. V'kabel berachamim, berachamim uveratzon et tfilatenu. Hashivenu Adonai elecha, Hashivenu elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh yameinu, yameinu kekedem. Al tashlichenu, al tashlichenu, letzivna kichlot kochenu. Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, aleinu. V'kabel berachamim, berachamim uveratzon et tfilatenu.
We come to the Vidui Zuta, the short confession, page 296. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. For the sin we have committed against you through evading and avoiding because we could not face the truth. For our flight into hypocrisy and deception because we did not dare to speak it. For the facts we dissembled and all we glossed over, for the excuses we made. For feeding our bodies and starving our souls. For interfering with the souls of others and neglecting their needs. For shifting our responsibilities, for reproaches and recriminations. For our foolishness, our folly, and false standards. For seeing these things only in others, never in ourselves. For our complacency, which blinds us, and our self-righteousness, which lessens us.
For calculating kindness and measuring out pity. For charity that is cold and prayers without feeling. For withholding our love. For the appeals that we ignored and the people whom we refused. For the affections which died and our lives that became bitter, for the visions which faded, the ideals we neglected, and the opportunities we lost, for the fear of change and renewal and our unbelief, for saying prayers aloud but refusing to listen, for being our own worst enemy. We'll read together. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness,
and the harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by abusing our power, and the harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and the harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations, and the harm we have caused in your world through envy. V'al kulam Elohai slichot, salach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu.
For all these failures of judgment and will,
God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public. Ve'al kulam Elohai slichot, salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, and lead us to atonement.
On this Day of Atonement, our prayers don't cease. We're here praying together all day. You can't be. This is the time that we do our own confessions. And because there is no Mourner's Kaddish, because the service doesn't really end. So here's the challenge before you. How do you make the most of the next few minutes? On pages 308 and 309, are guided reflections for Cheshbon HaNefesh, for checking and reviewing your soul. Diane is an amazing pianist, and she's going to play to give us the space to think and to reflect. Some of you will reflect in your seat. Some of you will reflect by walking the walls. Others of you will say, this is the journey has come to a close for me for right now. And we're going to encourage you, if that's where you're at, to gently place your Machzor Mirweh and quietly, because people are reflecting, exit very, very quietly. That means the ramp. That means the hallway. As we continue with our personal confessions, use page 308 and 309 as your guide. Your dad went to go pick up your siblings. Hey, le petit gay. Woo!
Yeah, so this is not,
Thank you, you two.
it's too far. It'll be late, isn't it? It looks like it's.
Where you from? It's 5-1. It's the biggie. Just don't ask me to pick it up for. Oh, I'm supposed to do hog then. I don't want to do hog then. We have service at 4 together.
Yeah, but you and I are.
That was amazing. Thank you,
Diane.
Thank you,
Why
Diane.
don't we meet, you and I meet in the Mercaz at 2:30?